hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation review. Today I'm taking a look at Terraformers on the PlayStation 5. Now Terraformers was originally released on the PlayStation back in 2023. This is a game that I had on my wish list for a while, and I picked it up several months ago now in a sale on the PlayStation Store, and I've been kind of saving it for a bit of a rainy day when there's been a little bit of a gap in the game releases, so that I could put a lot of time into this and get a review out for you guys, because this is the kind of game that I really enjoy. Quite strategic, quite relaxed, and it is a sci-fi strategy game. It's a game that blends a few different genres. It's got city building, it's got resource management, and it's got a little bit of grand strategy as well. And it's set against the backdrop of the red planet itself, and that is Mars. So it's kind of like a colony simulation game where you take the role of the director of humanity, basically, and so you're in charge of the colonization of Mars. So you're in charge essentially of expanding humanity's reach across that planet. You've got to kind of build cities, you've got to mine resources, you've got to manage ecosystems and handle the population's happiness and morale, things like that. So the transition to console, I mean, this was obviously released on PC initially, but from my perspective, I mean, this is obviously, like I say, it's been out since 2023. I've put a good few hours into this now, and I've had zero problems with it in regards to optimization. It's quite easy to figure out in regards to the UI. It's not particularly good at holding your hand, this, I have to say. You do need to be a little bit familiar with these type of grand strategy stroke city building type games, because it doesn't really nurture you through the early aspects of the game. But if you've played these games before, you'll probably be able to pick it up and play it and get used to the systems fairly quickly, I think. So the game itself plays out in turns. Each one represents like a week or a month, depending on your progress in the game. So every turn you can make a limited number of decisions in that turn. So you can either explore new regions of the planet, you can construct new buildings, you can import resources, or you can initiate terraforming projects like warming the climate or introducing different flora and fauna into the planet's ecosystem. The pacing is quite deliberate, and that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be like that. This isn't a game where you're going to find things kind of exploding left, right, and centre. It's not that kind of game. It's a more thought-provoking, planning long-term strategy type of game. And the satisfaction of seeing like a barren backdrop of rocks and stuff turning into a thriving colony is actually quite a buzz, if I'm being honest. There are different leaders that you can assign to different cities or missions. Each have their own unique perks. Choosing the right leader at the right time can make or break your colony's efficiency. So I think it's about every year or every 2 years, something like that, you get to kind of vote in a new leader. And the synergy between your cities becomes more critical as the game progresses. So you've got to make quite clever decisions as to who's going to kind of lead your colony. Do you want someone who's going to be more practical in regards to building things easier? Are you going to want someone that's a bit more scientific, a bit more of a people person? It's up to you who you choose, really. So the visuals and stuff like that, it's quite a minimalist game, but it is quite sleek. I think it does look quite pretty. It's quite picture based sort of thing, but there are animations thrown in there. I think the UI is pretty crisp. The city models are very good, and it's got some like terraforming effects and things like that. It's got like a slow spread of greenery or the formation of rivers, and it's all handled, with subtlety sort of thing. So you can kind of see these changes slowly. For example, when you start building up your city in one of your cities up, initially it's like just rocky formation, and as you start building your city, the background as well fills itself, and it just looks like a huge thriving mega city when you've finished. It's really quite impressive. It does run fairly flawlessly. I've had absolutely no problems. The load times are short. The controls I think are okay. You know, it's quite smart in how it works in regards to the UI. And the haptics do add a little bit of immersion during certain events like disasters or major milestones. Music is ambient and atmospheric. It's quite synthy, as you would expect with a sci-fi type of game, and it does its job well, basically. But there's no voice acting, so if you wanted to play this with your earbuds in and listening to your Spotify playlist, you could easily do that as well. Now, yeah, I do have to say this, the game isn't easy, and it's not really meant to be. Your colony can collapse if you're not balancing your population's needs correctly. Resources and environmental goals, it's a bit of a juggling act, but that's kind of part of the fun of the game. That's what you're doing when in this game. There is a good amount of replayability here. Each new game offers different leaders, maps, random events, and you can try various victory conditions. You can focus on science, environment, or population growth. And there's a sandbox mode that lets you basically do what you want, experiment freely, build what you want when you want. So it's got scenarios, it's got sandbox mode, that kind of stuff. So there's quite a few things to get your teeth stuck into here. So, the game isn't without fault, I suppose. If you're into these kind of grand strategy, like city building type games, I think you're going to be comfortable with the pacing of this game. But for some, I think if you're new to it, you might find the pacing a little bit slow. I like that. I like the pacing of this game. I like games that I can relax to when I'm playing, but it's not for everybody. And I do think it can be a little bit clunky, the controls at times, until you get used to it. There's different areas on the screen that you've got to navigate to, and it doesn't explain it particularly well. So you've got things on your left hand side in regards to trading and importing and exporting. You've got the things at the bottom to select projects to build. You've got your leader on the right that's got certain things they can do. You've got the stuff at the top, and navigating to all them can sometimes be a bit of a pain, but when you get used to them, it does happen pretty slick, and you don't kind of have any problems with that. There's no real cutscenes in the game or character interactions, so the stories are pretty much entirely driven by text and decisions, but it's fine because it's also like you're kind of creating your own fun, creating your own story, which is, again, not a problem. So I honestly think this is a pretty satisfying strategy experience for me. Like I say, I picked this up on a sale. There is some DLC that you can buy to add to this as well. But I can't remember how much I paid for this now because it was several months ago. But this is easy to pick up now in a sale on the PlayStation Store. Probably less than a tenner, or even if it's more than that, it's more than worth the money for what you're getting out of this game. Because you are getting an almost endless game here where you could put countless hours into, being creative, building your colonies, and just, getting a lot of satisfaction out of seeing the different colonies that you're doing and the different scenarios that you're doing, and just it does really give you a little bit of a buzz, this game. So while it's not for everybody, I think you would know by watching this review if this is something that you're going to enjoy, you're going to get fun out of. If you watch a lot of my reviews, you know kind of the games that I play, so I suspect many of you watching this like the same sort of games as well, and I think this is a really solid grand strategy stroke city building game. It's got a little bit of a difference to it. Like I say, it doesn't hold your hand. It's got a hugely lengthy tutorial. Well, they call it a tutorial, but like I say, they don't exactly nurture you through that tutorial. You basically got to figure it all out for yourself for the most part. And once you kind of do that, it becomes a balancing act then. You're kind of looking, well, I want to build this thing here in this city. I want to build this habitat thing. Or I want to build a farm. Oh, I haven't got enough resources. So you're kind of like, oh, what am I going to do? Okay, well, I need to import some more water, and I need to export some more, I don't know, food or whatever sort of thing. So you've got to kind of balance it. You've got to kind of look a few moves ahead and think to yourself, okay, what resources do I need in order to build this? And every time you build something as well, it will bring extra resources in every single turn. And you really do need to like milk every action that you can each turn as much as you can, and because, like I say, as you each turn that you end, it could be like a week or a month sort of thing, and if you've got the leader that you're enjoying using, they've got the perks that you enjoy using. You don't want to kind of whittle away the time that they're in charge. You want to make use of everything that they've got for you. So I think this is an absolutely solid strategy stroke city building game with the sci-fi aesthetic going on for it. I'm really having a great time with this one. This is a game that I will consistently return to play, trying different scenarios, and probably go on the sandbox mode. And if you can pick it up on a sale, it's more than worth it. This game, I'm giving it an absolutely solid 8 out of 10. I really do think if you like these sort of games, you're going to get a kick out of this one. So thanks for joining me for this review, guys. I hope you liked it, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content very, very soon.